Today we're going to be taking a look at the Robotics Expert class, formerly known as Baird, going over all recent changes in Op 5, things worth noting, and best card setups. Just to start off with, we have his passive ability. His fortification discount has been raised from 10 to 15%, which is much more fitting. I like it a lot better at 15%. 10%, I mean, it just doesn't stand apart from anybody buying anything. 15% kind of makes it like, yeah, he should definitely be the one buying it. I mean, he always should, but 15% is nicer. I like that. He also got some perks: fortification health, fortification damage, repair cost, and repair speed. Now, repair cost, it's worth noting that it costs 1,000 for level 1, it caps at 30,000 at level 10, and just to get that initial investment back on a level 1 1,000 perk, you have to do 20,000 in repairs. Baird already primarily repairs everything through precision repairs, so it's definitely not worth it in a frenzy, and I wouldn't even buy the level 1 perk in a 50. Repair speed, if you are going to be running Combat Engineer, and I'll get into the build and why I like this as a 5th now, you don't need the repair speed. I mean, it's a green card. If you don't already have this leveled up to 6, just up this to 6. I forget if it's 300, but you don't gotta spend it. But 330% faster after 2 seconds. You just repair everything so fast. Fortification damage is nice in the 50s, and if you got a little money extra in the frenzies and you got like 2 sentries or something built, up a little bit on the fortification damage. Because of precision repairs, fortification health is less needed. So his other new change is the addition of the homebody card, which is interesting. You get damage resistance when you're within 10 meters. So unless you have a power tap in the base or you're one of the engineers that goes out mid-game and repairs taps, personally, I just repair them at the end of the wave. With Combat Engineer, I can repair multiple taps to full health at the end of the wave. Homebody isn't that useful. It's really, as I said, only useful when you have one in the base where you have a viable position you can post up at within 10 meters of the power tap, because it does need to be captured. So on to the best card setups. I still think that Baird is the Combat Engineer. If you're not going to be sniping and using precision repairs, then you might as well play Dell and get the further discount on buying everything and a little bit extra interesting perks. So I'm going to note a little bit on experimental weapons just for everybody that isn't fully familiar with this card and how it works. They don't actually show the tri-shot and the salvo on here, but experimental weapons also does work with the tri-shot and salvo. It's also worth noting, it should be clear, but at 49% health is when this bonus damage kicks in, so the enemy must be at 49 or lower health, and then you will get this bonus damage. Also worth noting that bleed kills still do not work with precision repairs. They really should, but they still haven't fixed that. Torque bow kills work really nice. I like the torque bow and the long shot. The active long shot does a lot of damage. The M bar is good for beginning waves, but I mean, I'll run the M bar and torque bow, or long shot and torque bow. Personally prefer the long shot and torque bow because the active long shot does so much damage. Or the standard headshots, and then the torque bow can kill down enemies and also does a lot of damage. The active torque bow headshots are instant kills for all the drones, so that's pretty sweet. Because his global overclock is so high, it is pretty much a lock card for his 5. You really don't need these overclocked anymore, besides JD and Keegan. And not even so much Keegan. The only person that really benefits from the global overclock is the Demolitionist class. Most of the other classes, all you really need is a level 4 locker, and you don't even need this, but I mean, it is nice. Most games, I see like the Dells don't even run the overclock anymore because it is low and really doesn't make a difference, but 55% faster, I just leave it on. The Combat Engineer is really sweet. As I said, you can repair all the power taps, and the reason I'm recommending this now as a 5th card is because the game does revolve around taking the power taps. Power taps get you money, power taps get you extra health. All teams go after power taps. A lot of teams will even power taps in ideal positions or play less viable or optimal positions on the map just because that's where the initial power tap spawned. So, Combat Engineer is really nice to get those power taps healed up, as well as instantly refill your level 3 sentry or 2 or whatever, how many you bought. You can really quickly refill those. He doesn't have a lot of good other cards. The rest of his cards are kind of like okay. Bloody DR1, if you're not going to run, I'll get into that real quickly. So, I don't know why you would want to do Baird if you weren't going to do the Bloody support. But you could very easily also run Global Overclock, Experimental Weapons, Precision Repairs, Combat Engineer, or Homebody. Personally, I think Combat Engineer. And the Bloody DR1. With this setup, you give up the bleed damage. You just go trying to get enough kills with your rifles to keep the base repaired, then do whatever else you want. And you also get your ability to call in your DR1 pretty much as you want. I mean, personally, I'd be smart when I call it in, besides when it's a low wave, just to speed it up. But you could drop that bleed damage for the Bloody DR1 and then have the ability to call your DR1 in as well. Other than that, Baird has no new changes. Parting Gift's a joke. Most of these cards just aren't better than these 6 right here. Homebody is interesting, but it's really for teams that play to where the power taps. If you're going to build exactly where the power tap is, then this is a very interesting card. Because you would get damage resistance while posting up. I mean, on Masters, it's not going to make or break you. It's not enough damage resistance to really make a difference. I mean, nice on a lower level difficulty, or it might save you from a bullet or 2 in the first half of the game on Masters, but that's kind of why I'm passing over the card. But it is interesting. Maybe they'll give it a little bit of buff, and it would be considerable. At the moment, though, I have to pass over it for these 6 right here. And that is Baird Post Top 5. I hope that